our team of 11, we do probably more now with a team of 6 than we did with 11. What if your team became even 20% more efficient and effective? How would that improve you? If you've got 5 people, that's 1 less. Or you've suddenly got a free person, it's cost you nothing to generate more revenue and get more outcomes. So where does that go? Straight to your profit, right? So there's 2 different things. Efficiency, you can be really efficient at shit that doesn't matter. Like those people that get those red cups and they go stack them up into like a tower and then in like about half a second. Completely pointless because they had a stack of cups like this originally and they end up with a stack of cups, right? Highly efficient though, they can go, take that to your business. What things are you doing in your business that are highly efficient but actually not effective? They're not actually getting you anywhere. It's like you got the brake on and you're just spinning your wheels in the mud and you're not moving forward. There are things in your business, there are things your team are doing that are not actually effective. And effectiveness is more important than efficiency. Because if you're not doing the right thing, then it's highly efficient but not effective. Lisa, a microphone over here.
Sean, how do you help your team see how to make things more efficient and effective? If they often they can't see the wood for the trees. Like for example, a production department. How, like without actually physically going in there and bringing your expertise in, how do you help them see?
Two answers to that, 2 separate answers. One is you could bring your expertise in to improve the system and then step back out again because it could be a fast way of doing it. That's not necessarily empowering them though. The other way you could do something like Jace Powers did was started to integrate the 1% a day sort of game basically he did with his team, where he said to his entire team, right, who thinks that we could improve one thing each day by 1%? And everyone was like, oh yeah. And he had like some sort of thing at the end of the week, like for the best efficiency and effectiveness improvement, right? That made him hundreds of thousands of dollars extra profit in that first year. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. One example was one of the team were like, the trucks come in and they were trying to turn around. They'd go like this 5-point turn and they'd turn out because he does metal recycling and stuff. And one of them was like, well, what if we move that thing over here and like move that over there and concrete a bit there, then the trucks can just do a UE. He went from like 8 trucks a day to 12 loads a day. So 50% increase by someone coming up with there's a little improvement there. It could be improving the language in an email so that the sales process is a little more effective, or doing a video that then you put into an email so it gives someone a better customer experience. Like, what are these little 1%ers they can do? And empowering somebody to identify that could help. It depends on speed though. If you need it to happen fast, sometimes we go, hey guys, would you like me to come in and support you to improve the efficiency and effectiveness here? Or I would like to come in, are you open to it? So get their permission first. Sometimes we just need to go in, share our knowledge because it is vastly greater because we've been doing it for so much longer, or it is our business, all of that. But how can we also say from then, even if you do that, okay, from now going forward, how could we do 1% increase, 1% improvement in one thing per day? It's not 1% on everything, it's just one thing. And when you've got 5 team members, well, there's a minimum of 5% of improvement a day, right? But what happens when people start looking for those improvements is they might do a 2, 5, or a 10% improvement in one thing that just pops up because they go, oh, actually, that's really inefficient there. Why are we doing that? If we did this way, but we'll go to John.
Morning all. I often come across businesses who actually do stuff that should never be done at all. And the reason is that we've always done it this way. And there's no bearing of what they do to the outcome that the business is actually looking for. And I was shown a Peter Drucker quote only last week that I thought was pretty clever. And Peter Drucker said, there is nothing so useless as doing efficiently that which should not be done at all. So it's not only about looking at what you can improve, it might also be looking at things that you're doing that you actually shouldn't be doing at all.
Great frame, thank you, John. And one of the things that we look at is, you look at a system and go, well, do you need it at all? Because sometimes it's like, that's completely obsolete. And it was last July that we had that discussion and said to my team, we need to cut at least 20% of what we're doing. Cut it, stop it, remove it. There's got to be noise, there's got to be stuff in there. If you're setting that challenge to your team as well, you might start and say, we need to cut 5% of what we're doing, or 10%. What is the shit that's actually not doing anything? And when I mean cut it, doesn't necessarily mean it's gone. It's like you might take that system that's quite heavily manual and put it into automation, technology of some kind. Now it sends that email by itself. Why is someone still sending that bloody email? Just set it up once and now it's sending those emails. Like, again, it's improvement of and the bigger the organisation, the more guilty they are of running systems that are completely and utterly obsolete, because no one's got the vision across the whole thing to be able to look at every single system. And there's also not a clear audit process. So the first thing I ask is, do we actually need it at all? The second thing is, how do we improve it? And the third thing is, how do we automate it and get it out of being manual and make it as part of the technology and the system within the business? One of the other things too here that I'm going to talk to is about, again, not doing it yourself, is investing ahead of time, right? I've done that many, many times in business, and generally speaking, that's to do with hiring people. And hiring people not once the systems are built and I've got more than enough profitability to pay for them like a couple of times over. It's like sometimes we need to back ourselves and back what we're creating by saying, okay, I'm here right now. When I generate an additional $5,000 a month in profit, I'm going to take that entire $5,000 and invest it in a new team member. And that new team member is going to take this and this and this off us, right? And so then you focus your attention, because now you've got more space and your team have got more space. So if your team have got more space, you can hand more stuff to them. You've got more ability to then go and generate another $5,000 in profit. Okay, great. With that $5,000, I'm going to do this with it, right? Because by setting your foundational chess pieces first and then playing the game, you're going to grow. It's going to grow a lot faster. Because if you're going to keep waiting until everyone is stretched to the breaking point before hiring somebody, you're at risk of losing some of your key people, some of your best people. They're going to be quite burnt out. Same with you, because everyone's working so hard. That's where effectiveness comes into it. If you can you've got 10 team members and they're all working super, super hard, and you can pull that back 10% in some way, right? How do you, across the team, make it more effective, make things easier, take some of the load off? You may then not need an additional team member, but you've got an additional 10% of capacity to generate income. The alternative is okay, not just to throw people at it, because you've got to do both. If you keep throwing people at it, and I did that back in the day, early in my business career, is like, there's an empty chair, cool, Tammy, you're breathing, you're hired, sit there and look busy. I'm sure that'll fix it. Just throw more people at it. It's not what I'm talking about. It's going to be very intentional, very deliberate. You've got to have a clear role description. What are their outcomes and expectations you have of that role, right? Be very, very clear with what they're going to do. Does that mean they're taking specific things from you? Taking from you, not you giving to them. Just recall that language. Are they taking this from you to apply in the business? Are they taking things from other team members? And the same thing with those, if it's a higher caliber team member, the same rules should apply as with you. That person takes it from the higher caliber team member and takes responsibility for it. Don't make it now the higher caliber team member's responsibility to hand it over, because then you're just doing exactly what you were doing before. We've got to provide the same framework, the same ability to grow and develop and move forward with your team as you do have for yourself. Does that make sense? Because then you're empowering that new person, or that person that's in a step down in their level of or their place, I suppose, in the let's call it the hierarchy. Empower them to start taking more, because if they feel empowered, do you think they're not going to lift? And they're not going to generate more and produce more and become more effective and be more valuable to the business? You're then growing team up within your environment. You're giving them opportunities. But as I said, either you or the team member that's kind of their superior or their supervisor or their leader needs to step out of the space to give them the space and enough room to fall on their face, right? You need to give them enough room to make a mistake. If your foot's half in that space and you bring someone in, they're also only going to be half in that space, and then they're going to half show up as a leader. You've got to create a void, an empty space for them to step into fully. If something's going wrong, don't come along and shoulder barge them out of the way and fix it, and then jump out of there again and go, okay, step back in. And then they'll step back in with a little trepidation, and you barge them out again, and you fix something else, and then step back in, and then they're like, I don't know if I want to step back in because you keep pushing me out. Well, you lose trust and respect from that person. They don't then trust you, or they don't believe you trust them to do the job. And you may not be doing that because you don't trust them. You may be doing that because you're fearful of the financial cost or the impact on a client relationship or whatever it is. If they're occupying that space, stand next to them and support them to deliver the outcome. Don't barge them back out. Right? So whether it's a new person coming in, which is a very fragile stage to set the culture and set the frame for that role and that person in the business, or whether it's an existing one where you're trying to reset the frame, it's really, really important to do that.